I was born in 1972, so I've seen computers go from nobody has them to everybody has them. I've seen cell phones go from nobody has them to everybody has them. I've seen the internet go
Yep.
from how the hell do we make money on the internet
Yep.
to trillion-dollar companies on the internet. Mobile phones go from smartphones,
The BlackBerry to
the
the
BlackBerry
touchscreen
to
even
the
was
to
sort
the
of crazy.
to Apple, to the App Store, to a lot of people abandoning the internet version of
Well, I mean,
products and using the apps.
Yeah.
I like to look at, when I try to figure out what's going to happen in the future, what's happened in the past.
Yeah.
And all of those technologies that I mentioned, they were very, very, very clunky at first, and now they're completely mainstream. AI is going to be the same way, but I think it's in the clunky phase right now.
I'm Matt Speer here with propertymanagement.com, the unfiltered podcast. Great guest today. We've got Dave Borden from RentVine, property manager websites. A lot of history. Really excited to dig in. Dave, what's going on?
Hey, happy to be here at New Orleans at Broker Owner. Got a great night coming up. It's been an awesome week so far. Really appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Have you been in New Orleans before?
It's been a while. I think the last time I was here was maybe 10 years ago, but I love the city. The food here is amazing. We had an incredible dinner last night.
Yeah.
R&R, I think, was the name of the place.
Okay.
Food was insane. Great wine list.
I had
New
some
Orleans
gumbo, some gumbo that was good. I also saw some rats on the street, but it's like,
it's okay.
it's the vibe,
It's all that
the
good
culture,
food.
and
They got to eat too.
it's a cool spot.
Everyone loves New Orleans food, even the rats. So,
even the rats.
yeah.
It was like a medium-sized rat, so it wasn't scary. It just like alarmed
like a
me.
New York
I didn't
City
expect
rat.
to see it. Yeah, not a New York City rat. But you've done a lot of these broker owners as well. I mean, you've got a lot of history with property manager websites. What's been your like favorite location?
I probably have as many trade shows under my belt as anybody here by now. So, this is my third company that I've worked on with NARPM. NARPM's always a great organization. It brings the decision makers right past the booth. It's fantastic. And the first one I did was back in about 2003 or 4 in Hawaii. And there was literally 4 or 5 vendors there.
Was it in like Maui or Honolulu? Or?
It was in the main island.
Main island, okay.
Yeah, and there was, like I said, 5 vendors maybe.
Okay.
And now the room it's amazing. So
yeah,
it's been an incredible growth story for them as well. And that's, the more popular they are, the easier it is for us to do our thing.
Yeah,
so
I mean, we wouldn't be here without NARPM hosting this event and getting all these cool people together. So I think, the agentic we'll get into the agents and sort of AI and all this as well and how it plays in with RentVine. But I mean, that's going to result in so many new startups and opportunities. And I'm sure it'll just keep getting bigger. But
it's a very exciting future we have ahead.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about, before we talk about the future, let's talk a little bit about kind of what's built up just in your career.
Yeah.
You started property manager websites in 2008. Is that right?
2008 is when I started working with John, my current business partner, Jonathan, who has been an incredible business partner and great friend. And he reached out to me because he was actually working on a different property management software that he didn't know it at the time, but he really wasn't ready for like trust accounting. So that's when we pivoted and we were working on like a rental website. And then we ended up pivoting to PMW or property manager websites because we saw a big need in the market. There wasn't anybody doing property management specific sites. We were very good at SEO and it just took off. Our customers started getting more leads in a month than they had in 10 years with their previous website providers. So it was just a good springboard, and those customers cajoled us into starting RentVine eventually. But my property management background goes back way further than that.
Yeah, I looked into quite a bit of background, but I'm like, we've got like 50 minutes. I'm like, I want to hear more about sort of what built up.
Yeah, I guess I got trapped in it because my parents were property managers in Colorado, and this was
what market was this?
Colorado Springs.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Colorado's my home state. I was born in Michigan, moved to Colorado, lived in Steamboat for about half my childhood, and then lived in Colorado Springs for the other half, and graduated from high school there. My parents did property management. This is back before any technology, so they had a pretty good portfolio for the time. 400 units. They did it out of the house. Tenants came in and paid their rent in cash on the first of the month. We had just stacks of cash.
You literally grew up in property management.
I literally did. That's my dad would try to print out statements on like a Commodore 64.
Wow.
And that's where I learned all my swear words and that kind of stuff. It was very interesting. I learned a lot. just kind of observing. And then I went in the military for 12 years.
Okay.
I went to West
What
Point,
what I was
I
gonna say what
in
branch,
the
but there we go.
Army,
Yep.
and I flew Chinook helicopters
Well,
for
thanks for your
about 5 years.
service,
Yeah,
first of
thank
all.
yeah, no problem. I got out right before all the problems happened with 9/11. So I actually got out at the end of 2000. So I missed
Okay.
all the combat stuff. So I was a peacetime servant, but I still did. And that after that, I went into business with my mom in her property management company.
Okay.
And I did that for about 2 years, and it was short because while I was doing it, that's when I started RentClicks, which was an
Okay.
advertising site. Before Zillow, before Craigslist really even. Craigslist only had, like, San Francisco and New York at the time, and
Yep.
I was just looking for another place to advertise other than the newspaper.
Yep.
I couldn't find anything, so I contacted a a West Point graduate friend, Jonathan Hartley, and we built RentClicks together. Oh, I always
Was
have
it
I
rentclicks.com?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those it's like you could maybe get RentClicks for like 50 grand now.
Well,
You know
that
I'm a
is
sucker for a domain. That's
yeah,
like
and they actually, when we sold that business, they renamed it rentals.com because they felt that was a more marketable domain
yeah.
name.
So that's
But sometimes you really don't know how much market capital you've or how much, marketing capital you've actually built up. I think the
yeah.
brand was really good. Then I did a couple things outside of the property management world, and Jonathan contacted me to start helping him. We launched PMW. That was probably about 2011, and about 6 years into that, our customers just started saying, "Could you please build software? We're just not happy with what we have. The customer support's terrible. They they don't listen to us." And we knew it was a huge undertaking, and it turned out to be
Massive
even
undertaking. I mean,
huger than we thought by about
y
10x.
yeah. That's
Uh,
that I think any property manager can relate to that because many of them don't plan on getting into property management. Like me in particular, I was like real estate investor turned property manager, and I was probably 24 and arrogant and was like, "I'll just start my own property management company." It couldn't be, that couldn't be too difficult, but, you took on maybe a that's like one of the areas where maybe it was a larger undertaking.
well, we just had some really powerful incumbents to go up against, but we thought that we had an edge with, the way we were gonna build the technology, which I
Okay.
think we'll probably talk a little bit about. Also, just our knowledge of the industry.
Well, I think so. What do you feel? And we'll get into more. I want to get really honed in on specifically with RentVine, but I think the past history and kind of the buildup really matters. I mean, what about property? PMW really equipped RentVine to have like be more equipped for success because I mean, you had some customer base. You were listening to customers, which it sounds like what prompted RentVine. How did that play into it?
Well, anything you do in life gives you experience for whatever is next.
Right.
And obviously, the property management piece is a huge part of it. Being an operator, even for a short period of time, for the 2 years that I did it,
Yep.
it's very intense. I did a lot of the accounting. My mom was older, didn't want to work as hard, so I picked up a lot of the slack on a lot of that stuff. So I operated the business, and that helps. PMW really gave us a kind of a DNA for support because it's just so much.
Websites, it's like, hey, can you edit this? Can you change that?
Yeah,
Like, and if you're not really in touch with the customer,
we actually very begrudgingly went into that and into a service business because we didn't want to handle a heavy layer of support. But since we did it, we figured that's a good way to compete is support. A lot of companies, especially software companies, they're just kind of there's a lot of tech bros around and there's not a lot of property managers in the room. And we do have that at RentFine. So that helps us overcome some of that. And the support, I always look at it as like those are my parents calling in and
right,
the business is shut down right now because something's broken and we need to get it fixed.
right.
And so we try to instill that to all of our hires. Also, I go to a ton of trade shows and I don't like to get yelled at or I want hugs and kisses when I show up.
Yep.
We love you, you're great. So and I do get a ton of that because we have great people.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think that's a good transition into, just thinking about RentVine, state of RentVine today. We'll get into some of the VPI data, the propertymanager.com VPI and some of that data. That really is the customer voice that, we're trying to establish in the industry, really providing feedback for the software providers. And, customer support was major strong suit. Those reviews coming through, it was very apparent what you guys focus on. But I'm curious kind of how you approach customer support. Like, is it responsiveness? Is it, I was talking with, Allison from Enterprise Bank and Trust, and banking, it's like relationships, right? But she sort of talked about customer support's not just answering the phone. It's like being trusted. It sounds like, property management experience might be knowledge and actually empathy towards the property manager. How do you think about property management, customer support at RentVine? Like, how are you doing it so well?
Well, there's obviously the speed component that's very important. People have issues. They want to get on with their life. They have 50 fires to put out, and we don't want to be one of them. But it's also competence. And a piece of property management software, it's way different than most other vertical softwares because it's very complex. We have counting, we have screening, we have an e-signature platform, we have maintenance, we have reporting, we have all screening, everything. It's like a bunch of softwares. So it's very
Right.
complex. And our support people, it takes them about 6 months to get trained on everything. So obviously we don't wait 6 months before they can talk to anybody. We give them some chunks to work on. But we call them software experts. They're not customer support people
Yep.
because they're the best in the company on the software. And for bigger roles in the company, we often recruit out of our support team because they have such a great product knowledge that they can step into almost any role in the company and thrive.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But it's just DNA from everybody. Like I said, everybody we hire, I'm like, I don't want to go to a trade show and face angry customers. It's just not
Yep.
fun. Life is so much better when the people you work with trust you and are happy with you.
Well, what do you think about there's sort of a paradox, I guess, between your category specifically, I would call it property management software, like that core software that's used and kind of everything else generally connects to it, where it's very it's very sticky. It's very
Yeah.
low likelihood to switch, right? And so why do you invest so much in customer support when I mean, you've been around doing this a while, like
Yeah.
people don't switch because it's really difficult. So you don't have to provide that good of customer support. I mean,
Well, I can tell you from our numbers that
it's a little
people are switching. They're not switching away from us though.
okay.
So we're getting a ton of business from other platforms, and some of it's support related. A lot of it is, and some of it's technology related, and some of it's access to data.
Okay.
Like I said, we have a lot of property management experience in the company. They also happen to be very good at a lot of these technical positions. So that matters. And I feel like the customer's voice is loud and clear at RentVine, whereas some of our competitors, it may not be considered as much as they probably
Well,
should. And,
well,
we'll let them keep doing that. That's
yeah,
fine with me.
yeah, yeah. Well, let's talk about the access to data. So when you started RentVine, kind of that spark of the idea, and I think 2018, 2019, is that right?
It was about
You
17, late 17.
kind of in the lab a little bit, starting
Yeah.
to see some signals. Was the thesis originally about access to data, or was it more broad than that?
We definitely felt like the noise in the industry was around, I don't own my data. They take my data and monetize it.
And that was like pre-AI. I mean,
Yes,
like
and
pre-consumer available AI.
I would love to sit here and tell you that
I mean,
we were AI
you were like a
visionaries back
fucking
then,
prophet.
but it was more about access to data and giving a great API that other softwares could use, because we know that we can't build everything, and
Yeah.
we want to, and we're going to try to.
Yep.
But we can't build everything in the time that our customers need it. So if they can't get it from us, we want them to be able to have a great set of structured data to go use with another software, or now today with LLMs, Claude, all of these we kind of lucked into that. Sometimes when you just do the right thing, it ends up
and then
working
you're
for
doubling
you.
down, it works out. But I mean, I think there's a misconception. I mean, this is just my personal opinion, but I think there's a bit of a misconception with why property managers want access to their data. A lot of them would argue it's hey, it's our data. We're running this company, we're producing it. A lot of times it's really the client and the tenant's data and that relative information. But when I think about why they want access, it's not always, hey, we want to replace this like software tool. A lot of times, when I was running my business, it was surfacing KPIs and insights so
100%.
we knew what to take action on. And then that was like, what tools and software am I using to take the action? And I think, man, when you get Claude or ChatGPT in your pocket, and if you're a business owner, even just strategizing with your data is just so powerful, right? And so I love the position that you've taken. I think that's been public that, my opinion is that the future successful property managers are going to leverage their data. But the way that you made it open and accessible, I think has got a lot of people fired up. And I think maybe that's why you're seeing some switching happen, right?
Well, it just so happens that a truly open, RESTful API is also the best way to deploy AI outside of the system.
Right.
Like I said, we want to build all kinds of great AI inside the system, and we have, and we are. And I think property managers would rather trust us to do it as long as we do it well.
That's right.
But if we're not doing it fast enough for them,
Well, you can only do a few things extraordinarily well, right?
true.
And so you don't want to go so wide. It's like if they can, innovate something, and that doesn't mean RentVine couldn't release it later, and it allows them just to kind
Yeah,
of choose.
absolutely.
But I
That's
mean,
just our philosophy
right.
is we don't want to slow down your growth because you don't have the tools you need. Whether I don't think any software company provides every tool that their customers need. If they, I would love that. That would be great.
Yep.
But that's fairly impossible. It's getting easier with some of the AI tools that we can code with, but it's absolutely impossible to give everybody exactly everything they want, especially in with a high single family home portfolio for most of our customers. It's very custom.
Right.
And what works for a 500 unit apartment building is very different than a 500 unit property manager with properties
That's
all
right.
over the city, different appliances, different carpets. It needs to be very customizable and that data needs to be accessible.
Yeah, and so specifically with a lot of companies say they have an API and it's accessible. What makes RentVine's API accessible?
Well,
Like you can get
this would
technical.
be a much better question for John, but our software is an API. So when our customers use RentVine, they're just using an API.
Yep.
And when another software provider wants to get access to some of that data or endpoints, they can use the API just like our
Right.
React front end does for our customers.
And that's where the layering, like when you layer data, and we saw, and it's why we're talking right now, actually,
Yeah.
because we decided propertymanager.com, we're like, hey, there needs to be a Carfax of property management. We need to find a way to help a property manager that's truly excellent differentiate and surface that, right? And so we went through kind of a series of, all right, how do you do that? And we kind of went to this simple, like, all right, well, if your buddy was looking for a property manager, like what would give you the confidence to say, hey, you should work with them? And we were like, hey, what do all the other clients say? And so we started asking those questions. And our big aha moment was, well, wait a second. If we know that this property manager uses this tech stack, these tools and resources to operate, and then we know how their clients feel about their leasing speed, overall satisfaction, reporting, communication, you can start to attribute like, well, hey, this software stack's actually what might be getting real nerdy on the data science, but that might be what's driving some of these client outcomes. And
Yeah.
if happy clients mean more profit and better retention, it really started to matter. And it really was just a result of like, sounds like with you and PMW is just listen to the customer. And so, yeah, I feel like that's why, the property manager wants access to the data because they want the best tools. It's not
It's 100%. And
yeah.
even if they don't, it's the right thing to do to allow them access to it because they may not know how to do it, but they
Yep.
may go hire somebody that does.
Yep.
And there are property managers that do know how to access their data and use it how they want to. And the industry is kind of on the front edge of figuring out that the RentVine API is truly the best way to deploy AI. And their journey is going to be slowed by being on our competitors.
Yes, I wouldn't say this is a difficult question, but I want to make sure I ask the tough questions too.
Go
So,
for it.
looking at our vendor performance data, I mean, in terms of price, right? Off the charts score, one of the best in the entire industry, not just your category. So people feel like they get a lot of value for, bang for the buck as well. But when you look at your NPS is 60.3, which is really strong. It's like I'm kind of looking for the weak points, but you look at ease of use, 81.2. I feel like with how complex a property management software system is, ease of use is always going to be a challenge. How do you think about, property managers have a lot going on. They're juggling a lot of balls, a lot of processes. They're starting to get into vibe coding and it's all this chaos. How do you make a product that's easy to use? And are there things you're doing to try to optimize that moving forward?
Yeah. Just like everything else we build, we talk to customers on that. And I'll admit, in our early days, RentVine was a lot clunkier than I wanted it to be. We've cleaned the vast majority of that up, and really wasn't a problem for the smaller customers up to 3, 4, 500 units. But once you start doing something 1,500, 2,000, 3,000
Right.
times, and if there's a little bit of clunkiness in there, it means a huge performance gap for those bigger customers. So that's been a focus on the core system for us, is cleaning all of that up to make their lives a lot easier. But the the usability is critical. And, one of the things that we've learned from, I know probably wanted to talk about our private equity partner, is they've just really helped us out with a lot of that stuff. They have got incredible product people. We kind of spy on everyone to see what they're doing
Yep.
and what the frustrating areas are. But again, we listen, and we have property managers in our company that are like, guys, we have to fix this. This is ridiculous.
Well, how does the private equity partner help your business, move forward and reach the outcomes and, goals you're looking to attain?
Well, there's a couple things. Number one, you've got to choose the right partner. And our partners, main sale partners, they have had other investments in the property management. They invested in Paylease. They invested in ResMan, which is another property management software more focused on the multifamily industry. And they also invested in Nexus, which was like an AP software for property management. So when we were doing our management meetings with potential investors, they were so far in a way better than everyone else that we talk to. And they allow us to get on the same level with some of our incumbent
Well,
competitors
I mean,
because
and there's no doubt you're the incumbent competitor. It's Appfolio you're probably referring to, and I mean, it's a public company. It's
yeah, so
because in some other categories, I could see private equity being used as like a negative, right?
a lot of people see it that way. And they say, okay, here's the time when they come in and they squeeze every dollar out of the customer that they possibly can, and they start making decisions that are poor. Mainsail left John and I in charge of the company. And I think that was a good move, not because we're super smart, but just because we do understand the customer. And we've hired a bunch of really awesome, top notch executives, and they're fantastic at what they do, but they don't know the industry as well as we
Right.
do. So half of our job is just making sure that they don't make decisions that are going to adversely affect our customers. And Mainsail has been incredibly supportive on that. One of the things you mentioned was price, and yeah, our price is a little bit lower. That's because we kind of have this vision of being able to achieve our revenue goals from other than our customer,
Yep.
whether it's screening or payments or other areas, insurance that you bring inside the platform. And these people are making these purchases anyway. They're just doing it outside of our purview, and they're doing it outside of our customers' purview. So if we can help bring all that into our ecosystem, they make some money on it, we make some money on it. That's a
Right.
lot better than just raising the price every time we need to hire more people or
Right.
show better results to our board. So
Well, I think people think about private equity. They think, oh, they're gonna, come in and start squeezing the profits out. But I mean, your pricing,
well, they
the data is
usually
sort of
they
undeniable, right? But will that change moving forward, though, as you have more?
not as long as I'm in charge, it won't. So a lot of private equity companies do that, and a lot of the founders and entrepreneurs, they either get replaced or they go along with it, and because the board pressures them. And our board has been so supportive of. We tell them that, hey, right now we are viewed as the good guys in the industry, and if we do some of these things that we've talked about, that's going to change. And if you want to see that switching motion of people switching to us that go away or slow down, then we just have to start making dumb decisions that adversely affect our customers. They've been incredibly supportive, sometimes against their will,
Yeah.
to allow us to run the company the company the way that we feel like we need to.
Yeah. What's the end goal? I mean, you've been in this industry quite a while. Is it pursuing going public, and will that change something? Right. So
Well,
again, it's like I'm literally putting you on the hot seat here because
that's okay. I'm a very transparent guy. I'm not telling anyone anything
Well,
they can't go find on Chat
well,
GPT.
yeah, yeah. I was doing the podcast episode with Ray Hespen of Property Meld, and we had the AC running. We're in the people probably can't see this. We're in the van, but we're in a garage. We had the garage door open.
I'm actually slightly concerned this might be the last time you see me. I might get
Yeah,
kidnapped out of
he's
here.
he's he get kidnapped. Yeah. Well, the carbon monoxide detector went off, so we're like, no
Okay.
more AC for you. So you're literally on the hot seat. But
You
anyway,
can't hurt Ray.
yeah, he's a resilient
already
man.
damaged.
He's
So yeah. So where were we then on the?
yeah. So I mean, is the eventual
Oh,
goal?
what's the goal? Really? So
And can you share that?
yeah, absolutely. So Mainsail is a growth equity firm. Okay, so that means that they take companies that are kind of in the early. They take companies that show a lot of promise, but they're in the early stages, maybe 5 to 10 million in revenue,
Right.
and then they put a lot of professional executives and motions, go to market, marketing, customer experience. They put a lot of that stuff in place, and they hire leaders that have done that before, and they come and
Right.
help us set up all those motions. Because like I said, we're going against, you mentioned Appfolio, but there's other, property we're building and rent manager. They all have the same situation we do, is their customers don't really want to leave unless we give them a really good reason to. And so we have to our customers aren't going to be like, oh, you're the new guy, we'll be okay with some errors here. No, they want us to be big boy grown up if they're going to run their accounting on us. That's their legal
Right.
regulatory requirement, is they have to be able to pass an audit.
Yeah, it's just a reality.
And
Yeah.
there's no messing around with that. So it really helped us get the infrastructure that we need to compete like we have been. The eventuality is that there's really only 3 things that happen. Well, there's 4. I don't like to utter the fourth. The fourth is you fail.
Right.
But first of all, you get bought out by a competitor or another company that wants to have access to your customer base. You go public, which is always probably the best way to maximize your multiple, but it's also
Opens up
There's
another
just
can of
a ton
worms.
of things. Yeah, I've been advised many, many, many times that that's really not the best way to go. And because then you have a different set of,
Well, then you could get the yacht and you could maybe
well,
invite
that's
me
true,
out
but
there, and no, I'm just
maybe we can do that
no
anyway.
perks, but
But then you start making decisions based on creating shareholder value, and that's usually in conflict with what's valuable to the customer. So that's a decision we probably will lean against. Obviously, money talks. If it's
right.
big enough opportunity, we might explore that. And then what typically happens with a company like ours is a bigger private equity firm will come in and make an investment and
Kind
buy.
of name a few of those, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's
like
like,
yeah, sure, like Vista, KKR, Insight. There's a bunch.
yep,
Thoma Brava, who
yep,
owns Propertyware and
that's right,
Buildium.
that's right.
So those guys don't really like to mess around with the $5 to $10 million businesses. They want to see $50 to $100 million businesses. So main goal in life is to help companies get from that growth stage to the larger stage where you're
Right.
becoming a legitimate big time player in your category. And so those are really the only four things or we just keep going.
Yeah.
But typically the main sale investors in their fund are going to want to see a return on their investment. Ooh, a little noise from where we are
we're
in a
in New
van.
Orleans. Here we
Yeah,
are. Not on the road, but it feels like it.
yeah. So those are the only real outcomes that can happen. But main sale's been, again, super supportive on when and how that may occur. And right now it's head down to creating value to the
Right.
business and our customers. That's the only thing we really care about right now, because it's pretty intense.
Yeah. Well, I'll change subjects a bit. I want to talk about, I keep calling it this like agentic future. You talk to any property manager here, it's like within 5 minutes, like Claude's going to come up and, what are
Yeah.
they trying to automate? And, what software providers are doing some cool things on the agent side. How do you see that? I want to ask about like, because you guys are kind of the one that's equipping and allowing for that with the data access, but
And we're going to build, we see dozens of potential agents in the property management, and we're going to build as many as we can.
and you'll be, let's say you build what would be an example of like a function or like
Well,
what type?
right now, the first one we rolled out is our maintenance one, and it does 90% of the triage.
Yep.
When a tenant, it's got to, they can do it online through the portal, through the app, or they can do it on the phone. They can just call in and talk to the AI, and it'll listen to problems. They can take pictures. They can shoot video. Also, with the amount of data that we have in RentVine, especially with a very custom industry like property management, we know which appliances they have. We know so that
Age,
they
useful
can,
life.
yeah,
So,
they can get very specific technical support on that. And a lot of tenants don't want to, like, just let me talk to someone, and so I can
right,
set up a work order. This isn't my job. But a lot of them don't, and a lot of them
right.
will. They'd rather figure out how to fix their garbage disposal by themselves, and that's a fantastic upgrade. It eliminates work order usage by 30 or 40, or submission by 30 or 40%.
Right, with the triage,
And
right. That
that's
affects NOI and, affects, the
customer satisfaction and
right.
how much their customers like them.
Well, let's say I just did the Mason 5K this
Okay,
morning,
yeah.
and it was fun. We brought some water, help support people trying to get out and do a hard thing and be active in the morning. I mean, their company I think is getting quite a bit of traction.
Oh, yeah, yeah, they do a similar, yeah,
Right, but so how does that's a dynamic that is interesting to me
yeah.
because my goal is to try to help the average property manager understand, like, is the maintenance agent for RentVine the only option, or can I go use
No, there's
Mason as well? And
other people that build agents, but the one thing those agents need is well-structured data, which is what we have. And we can now it's always I think it's I'm a little biased here, but it's always preferable to do it's always if we can build a great solution for people, they would much rather use the one that's native to RentVine than go out and try
right.
to figure out how to build it off
But
RentVine.
but but you won't try to, your company's not gonna try to stifle the innovation if
I mean, we always
I'm grilling you here,
if
but
there's no, if there's a better the reason we built our platform the way that we did is because either A, there's certain battles that we don't want to fight and products that we don't want to build.
right,
But that doesn't mean the property manager doesn't need that or want that.
that's right.
And number two, maybe we didn't build the best version of it. And that's on us. If we don't build the best version of something, we certainly don't want to lock someone into having to use our mediocre product when there's 5 other better products out there. That mentality it's gotten me in my life. It's always gotten me. I've had 3 very successful businesses in property management tech. I always try to give more value than we charge for. And we always try to do the right thing. Like if
Like, is that like an abundant mindset? Is that how you think about
it's
that?
one you have to have if you want to be at RentVine. Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, it's like
I'm trying to put my finger. It's so counterintuitive.
It's counter to the business. Like, it would be better for us to cut everyone else off and just force
Like
them to.
short-term
But
profits, right?
but again, I want to work with people that I like and that like us.
Okay.
And when you make decisions like that, you alienate your customers, and then they don't like you as much, and then they're not as nice to deal with on support, and then they talk trash about you at a trade show. I don't like that, and it's just, whether it's your personal relationship or the people you work with. And I've been doing this for almost 25 years, and I have friends. Some of my dearest friends are in this industry, and the last thing I want to do is treat them poorly. So
I had a bit of a hot take on, I think that like some things will sort of AI sort of make certain things like more of a utility, right? It's like if it, AI can do something really well that 5 or 10 years ago required like a company to do it. And one thing that it conflicts maybe a little bit with your business model, which is like websites. I feel like you can spin up a website. People are doing it on AI. It's like beautiful designs and all these things. So how will PMW kind of play into this long term? Does that help RentVine's success?
100%, because
Why, and why is that?
So PMW is the category leader in helping customers get new owners,
New customers,
which is their customer. And by the way, if they're also a RentVine customer, that's another unit for us.
Right.
So what a great
that's an incentive.
We are incented for our customers, especially our RentVine customers on PMW, to do incredibly well.
Okay.
And yes, there are some AI things that can spin up a website, and it might look good.
Yeah.
It's what's under the hood that really matters. The SEO, the AIO now. I mean, AI results are probably, they're catching up, and they're going to pass search results very quickly.
My wife was making fun of me, the early days of ChatGPT. She kept making fun of me saying she called it ChatEP. She's like, talking to ChatEP. I think she uses ChatGPT
more than
10 times more than I do now. And I'm like making fun of her.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I think people will start you've used the word structured data quite a few times. It sounds like you're thinking about the structured data maybe in a way to drive the growth and the door count, which helps RentVine.
Correct. But it also helps our customers first. Like I said, when you try to do what's right for your customer, it just always benefits you too.
Right.
I mean, obviously you have to charge enough money to stay in business. You have to make enough money to keep the lights on and stay in business. And I don't think there's a customer out there that thinks that's unfair.
Yeah.
But every time you just arbitrarily add more money to their bill because you want your stock price to go up, or you want to fill your pockets, or I want to buy a couple extra bottles of wine, it's just annoying. Like I said, our goal is to try to make as much of our revenue as possible without hammering our customer.
Yeah. Are you a big wine guy? What's your favorite?
I like French Bordeaux.
French Bordeaux.
Probably just because my last name's Borden, and I can say Bourdon, and I call my house like Casa Bourdon, or Maison Bourdon, Chateau Bourdon.
I should ask you at the beginning, where do you live? Where's home base?
Naples, Florida. I'm a Colorado. Like I said, I was born in Michigan, lived in Colorado most of my life, but I've been full-time in Florida for the last 5 years, and I love it.
Very cool. All right. Anything else that's top of mind for you that we haven't talked about? I kind of put you through the ringer. This has been fun. I've literally put you in the hot seat because thanks to Ray, we don't have AC.
It is very warm in here, but I don't think the questions were too you can ask away. I think that you mentioned the AI stuff. So this conference has like a record attendance, and it's in an era of where you don't really need to go to trade shows to get the data. You can call someone, you can do a podcast, you can do a webinar. I think everyone's dying to get this knowledge and to figure it out. But I'll tell you, AI is absolutely the most disruptive technology in my lifetime. I was born in 1972, so I've seen computers go from nobody has them to everybody has them. I've seen cell phones go from nobody has them to everybody has them. I've seen the internet go from how the hell do we make money on the internet to trillion-dollar companies on the internet. Mobile phones go from smartphones,
the BlackBerry to the BlackBerry
to Apple, to the App Store, to a lot of people abandoning the internet version of products and using the apps.
Yeah, and when you first, I guess 2018 is a little later than that, but it was, 4 years previous really was like all about, we got to have the app. There's an app for that.
So I like to look at, when I try to figure out what's going to happen in the future, what's happened in the past. Yeah. And all of those technologies that I mentioned, they were very, very, very clunky at first, and now they're completely mainstream. AI is going to be the same way, but I think it's in the clunky phase right now. Now, generative AI, I remember they've been working on generative AI since
Yeah.
2008, 9,
Yeah.
10.
What was that first magical moment for you where
When
you're like, holy
well,
shit, things are different now.
I was always looking for a tool to like help you write, even at least just check your grammar and spelling.
Yeah. Yeah. You get a lot of emails. You're kind
Yeah.
of just ripping email.
And so I would always, anytime someone said we have this tool that's AI or whatever, whether it was, the Microsoft had the little thing, and I would ask it to do something, and it would be riddled with grammatical errors,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't make any sense. It would be
Yeah. I
wrong.
want to sound smart, not stupid.
Yeah. And so in 2020, I think as the first, either 20 or 21, I used the Chat GPT version 3.0 that's the one where everyone was talking about, like, hey, this is a game changer. And I'm like, okay, let's see if it's a game changer. And I basically told it to like summarize the French Revolution in 3 paragraphs, and it was spot on.
Yep.
And I was like, oh boy. But that was 5 years ago.
Yeah, that was 5 years
back
ago.
then they were still only had like their model only went to a certain date, and they only knew how to train on that information.
Right.
So my point is, generative AI is really good. It's not perfect, not even close. There's all kinds of hallucinations and errors. I mean, if you're talking to ChatGPT, it'll spit out something that is very clearly wrong.
Right.
And you call it on it. It's like, oh yeah, thanks. Oh, it's great of you to notice that.
Yeah.
But it's not there yet. And we're talking about, it's been 16, 17 years. Now, granted, the major improvements have happened over 5 years, but that gives you enough time to start figuring out how to help you answer email and create presentations and do a lot of create content for your website. Generative AI is great. Agentic AI is very, very first.
And I think I nerd out about this. I bet, you do too. It's like a lot of people use agents. They overuse agents. When you think about an agent, to me, an agent is like sort of working autonomously for a goal. Like, you give it tools and it can go out and use the tools until it gets the outcome. Whereas an automation is if this, then that, it may have access to tools. And so I think most property managers need really, really good automations, which can be enhanced by data and context and maybe a little bit of agent. There's not too many true agentic solutions that are needed.
The main word you used was autonomous.
Yeah.
None of them are autonomous right now.
Yeah.
They always require a human to check the work.
Or at least should in our industry. Like fair housing. Like, you don't want to, you rip an email that says something like, it's an extension of you, you're going to get that lawsuit, not your AI chat, right?
Well, in the first version of our maintenance bot, one of the first calls, it was like, do I have to pay for this? I was like, oh no, your property manager will pay for that, which is generally the case, but it needs to say that in the lease.
Yeah.
And so you can't have it spitting out answers that are going to cost you money,
right?
Get you in trouble, maybe send you to jail or get you sued or get you to lose your license. Because when you go to fight something like that, when an AI makes a mistake, it affects somebody's life negatively, you don't get to blame it on the AI. They're going to blame it on you.
It could be there'll be a story that drops for a property manager.
Oh, there's already, remember a guy, ChatGPT, a guy was talking to ChatGPT and committed suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, they look back and thought that ChatGPT did everything well, but still, you can't, those are major decisions that you can't trust.
But I think your point is it's still extremely early.
Yeah, and I even asked, I have a presentation I've given tomorrow. I asked ChatGPT and Grok and Gemini and I said, when is agentic AI going to be fully autonomous? And all of them said like mid 2030s.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That may be wrong.
That is interesting.
Those, they're the one. I don't know if they're right or not, and it may happen a lot faster than that. But an autonomous agent is very, very tricky.
Right.
It's basically has to be 99.9. It has to be at least more accurate than a human.
Right.
And then you're talking about like AGI, which, artificial general intelligence. And most of the models say that's not coming until the 2040s or beyond. By then I'll be like 75 years old and I won't care anymore. So all you young guys will have to deal. So once they figure that out, then, I'll be old and then the AI will start killing all the rest of us. So.
Well, thanks for a bright future for me there. Appreciate it, Dave. Well, cool. This has been fun. I mean, we got to get I'm bad at the lightning round. The lightning round's supposed to be really fast. It's supposed to be rapid fire, but let's jump into it and see if I can work through it quickly this time. But all right. So first question, I'm really interested in this one for you. So what's your favorite tool or app that you're using that's not work related? I know you work a lot, but not work related.
Honestly, it's both work. Jonathan makes fun of me because I probably use AI more out of work than I do in work. we use ChatGPT because it's part of our acceptable use policy. But on my personal life, I use Grok.
Okay.
And I use Grok to help me figure out what kind of wine to drink, and setting itineraries for
How much
trips
should
and
this Bordeaux cost?
exactly
Yeah.
100%. I've actually created prompts and not agents, but to say, hey, evaluate this wine and how much should it cost?
Yeah.
Condition, check the condition notes. It's amazing.
I love that.
And you can learn anything. You can learn anything pretty expert level if you're willing to commit the time to it. I devour information and I can never get enough. So, and I have pretty good retention. I use it all the time.
Yeah,
If I'm just bored,
I've got 2 kids, a 3-year-old Scotty, uh, not, a couple month-year-old Finn.
oh boy.
I'm imagining the future of, like, school is I love this, the idea of the structure, and you go to college, you meet friends, but boy, if you wanna learn something, they're gonna be able to learn and do whatever they wanna do, and
Yeah.
that's exciting. A little bit scary too, but it's exciting.
Well, the thing there, using the wine example or even that example, is you can get as deep as you want on the knowledge,
Right.
but you're never really going to get there unless you actually taste the
Yeah.
wine. So
Yeah, and you think and you're
I've actually
creative and
argued with Grok
experience.
before, and it's telling me what I should be. I'm like, no offense, but you've never tried wine. So it's like, well, you're right.
That's interesting. It's just
So,
I heard people talk about it. Yeah,
so it
that's
has to
funny.
be applied, but you can get pretty deep on knowledge for any topic that you want to. It's you talk about education. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to go to university, go to school outside of
Yep.
the education part of it. The education part of it is there's access to more if someone's really interested in learning something, there's no excuse.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next one, book or podcast. Let's make this one work related. Like if you're a property management operator, what's the best book or podcast they should be checking out?
All right. No, it's so just in life in general, my favorite book is the George Washington book.
Oh, cool.
Just
Are you
because
like a big history guy in general or just
it's
this one?
funny. I went to West Point, and their motto is much of the history we teach was made by people we taught. I really was not big into it then, but I am now. And you look at George Washington, his leadership, his just sheer grit and determination is off the charts. I mean,
Yep.
remember, if they weren't successful, they were gonna, hey, we hang together or we hang
Oh,
separately.
right. I mean,
So the
I
the
can't
the
imagine the stakes
stakes
there.
the
Yeah.
stakes are something that we can't comprehend today.
Right.
So
We've got it pretty easy.
starting a business is risky and scary, and sometimes you don't know where your next meal or paycheck is coming from. But I mean, imagine that kind of challenge, and you kind of think about that every time I feel like, oh, this is hard. I'm like, it's not really that hard.
Yeah, people are very resilient, but that kind of relative context matters.
And
I'll have to check that one out.
I just think he's one of the greatest leaders ever
Yeah.
in the history of the world. It's amazing. And you look at what he created.
Yeah.
I mean, he had help,
Here we are,
obviously, but and this is
the land of opportunity.
it's
I'm in
incredible.
a podcast van in New Orleans talking to a CEO of us. I
It's
mean, it's
incredible.
anything's possible. So very cool. Well, let's do this final kind of serious question. So, what is one word you would use to describe the property? I'm going to switch this one up a little bit. Let's do one word you describe the property management software category, your specific category that'll define the future in the industry. What matters the most? One word.
Valuable, and
Can you
you did
elaborate a little
trick me
bit?
up
Yeah.
because you
I switched you up
yeah, you
on
kinda
it.
gave me a heads up, and then you changed it.
Yeah.
Everything in life has to add value. Everything should add value to your life, and if you don't make the software valuable, people won't use it. They'll switch, they'll go somewhere else, they'll do it themselves if the tools are available.
Right.
So we have to be on top of that and make it valuable.
Dave, this has been fun.
Thank
Great.
you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, have a good rest of the conference. Really excited to see what RentVine does, and this has been a pleasure.
Yeah, me
Appreciate it.
too. Thank you.